Hadley, I'm the principal of Hadley Junior High. So we have two short concerts for you tonight. With our 7th grade, we're going to start with our period 8 band. But really what I want you to know is a quick severe weather drill. Right? If the lights go out, I recommend we just pause. I don't want anybody to fall into a tuba or trip over a drum. Right? Let's just kind of wait to see what picks up. Like it just happened, right? Just blink for a couple seconds. If we need to evacuate, what we're going to do is we just got to get out of this tall room right here. So that hallway is safe, and right over there is a lot of sofas and cushions in our 8th grade flex space. So if we need to, and I'm sure all of our phones are going to go off at the same time, anyway, right? So nobody's going to miss it. We're just going to pause, and we'll exit there, or we'll exit out there, and we'll just wait it out. Sounds good. Let's try it, all yours.
In a world where Neil Armstrong is usually remembered for the 1969 Apollo 11 mission and the first ever moonwalk, the composer struggled to find a piece of music that celebrated his formative years as a young aviator. His development as an Air Force and Navy test pilot would ultimately land him a spot in the astronaut corps. Wild Blue is a fanfare that illuminates this lesser explored area of his legacy, while also depicting an adrenaline-packed test flight. While the entirety of musical themes in this piece are original, the title is derived from the opening lyric of the official United States Air Force song, "Off we go into the wild blue yonder."
The Red Balloon is an original composition based on a painting the composer saw just once. The painting showed a small child and a grandfather facing away. The two people in the background were done in white on white. The only color in the painting was the red balloon held by the child. The music depicts the balloon floating in the air. The main theme is passed through all sections of the ensemble and should be passed smoothly and effortlessly to illustrate the depiction of balloon floating.
You'd think that a composer that writes a piece about roller coasters must be an avid thrill seeker, right? Well, upon a recent band trip to Orlando, the composer's students picked up on his lifelong fear of heights. Knowing that he would do anything for his students, they insisted that their trip would be complete if he agreed to ride the big rides with them.
Against his better judgment, he agreed. While he could do without the height of these steel beasts, he was surprised to find the most enjoyment of the launch coasters. Instead of a slow ascent up a large hill, a forceful blast-off presses you into your seat as you accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 3 seconds. 0 to 60 is a depiction of an adrenaline-filled thrill ride that consistently increases in intensity and speed.
All right, thank you so much. Before these guys play their last piece, there's one quick group of students that I would like to take some time to recognize. Back in March, students had the opportunity to participate in solo and ensemble festival. So this is a festival that we host here at Hadley, and the students had the opportunity to play either a solo by themselves or in an ensemble with some of their friends, maybe people that they don't usually get to play with, different instruments. And I'd say 90-95% of it is all on their own. So they take the time to practice. They practice both in school, outside of school, rehearse it on their own, and it's a really excellent way to learn discipline, learn what it takes to rehearse something, and work on something more individually. So with that being said, if you participated in solo and ensemble and you are in period 8 band, would you please stand up and let's give them a huge round of applause, please. Great work, guys. You guys can sit down. Part of solo and ensemble, we have different judges, different clinicians who come in and give the kids feedback, work with the kids, and it's always nice for them to hear something other than us. We ask each one of those judges to pick one best of day from their room. So what that means is, what was the best thing that they heard from 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade? Now, we had a member of this band, who's sitting on the floor right now, earn Best of Day, which is huge as a 7th grader. It's just fantastic. Playing a solo in the band room. Let's give it up, please, for Alice Baker. Come on up here, Alice. piece for you. And I can see the percussion is all ready, so I'm going to turn it over to Alice, our best of day, to introduce the final piece.
Junk Funk features plastic cans and buckets used by street performers in large cities such as New York City and Washington, D.C. These musicians often play in a style called go-go drumming, which originated as a type of hip-hop music. The junk instruments called for a 5-gallon bucket, large garbage cans, and a suspended metal trash can lid. This is an exciting tune that features our percussion section full of interesting sounds, stick clicks, foot stomps, hand claps, and vocals. We hope you enjoy Junk Funk.
Thank you so much. We're going to ask for your patience as we transition period 8 off the stage and welcome period 5. Thank you so much.
marked by his efforts to foster peace between Native Americans and new settlers of the country. He gained prominence during the Dakota War of 1862 and sent to Minnesota by sending warriors to protect peaceful settlers from the Dakota tribes. Despite his contributions, he and his people were forced to leave Minnesota and relocate to South Dakota. Later, U.S. President Ulysses Grant and James Garfield recognized the peace efforts. Chiefs struck by the weak passed away,
Struck by the reads a musical narrative about an honorable Native American chief who confronts conflict to achieve peace between two peoples. The piece opens with aggressive, thunderous percussion and strong melodies, transitioning to gentle serenity as a resolution appears possible. However, tensions resurface, leading to a bold finish.
A New Light is loosely inspired by another earlier work of the composer entitled At Twilight. While At Twilight paints the image of a sunset and the emerging night sky, the composer wanted to dig deeper into the meaning of light and how it relates to our everyday lives.
Night and darkness can be a metaphor for so many things. It can symbolize the great uncertainties of life, while also signifying a desire for guidance and direction. The composer says he had to learn that the cycle of uncertainty is not linear, but rather cyclical. The world will undoubtedly provide circumstances that cause darkness and uncertainty, However, we can survive these circumstances with the hope of a new dawn, and therefore a new light to move us forward.
Thank you so much. This is such a fun piece to perform and to listen to, so thank you. It takes a really mature ensemble to be able to perform something as lyrical and as expressive as that. So thank you, Period 5. That was gorgeous. I would like to point out something that is in our program. For the third year in a row, our District 41 Community and Music Department has received the designation of being a Best Community for Music Education. The application process looks at facilities, programs, teachers, number of students involved in programs, administration, support from the community, and all sorts of different things that make a music program function at its best. And so for the third year in a row, District 41 The elementary schools and Hadley Junior High have received a designation as a best community for music education, and that is shared with all of you because without your support as parents and community and our administration and our Board of Education, that would not be possible. So congratulations everyone on another acknowledgement of being the best community. Thank you.
Circus Scenes is an exhilarating multi-movement work that captures the vibrant and whimsical atmosphere of the circus. This piece invites listeners to experience the thrill and excitement of various circus acts through the dynamic movements. Ringmasters welcome, trapeze artists, clowns, and animal parade. Each movement is characterized by diverse time signatures, intricate chromatic passages, and a variety of articulations, creating a rich tapestry of sound that reflects the unique spirit of the circus.
Thank you so much. Before we play our last piece and while they're getting set up, we also had members of this band who participated in solo and ensemble as well. So if you participated in solo and ensemble, would you please stand up and let's give them a big round of applause, please. Nice job, guys. Good. One quick housekeeping note, because we are approaching the end of the year now, 13 days, not that anyone's counting. But if your child plays on a school-owned instrument, so a school-owned instrument, so that means you're not renting it through Quinlan and Favors, it's not an instrument that you personally own, it's one of Hadley's. We need all of those instruments back by next Friday. So if you have an instrument that usually stays at home, make sure it makes its way back to us by next Friday, unless you would like to keep it over the summer, which you are more than welcome to. You just have to fill out that Google form that I emailed home to you. So all school instruments at Hadley by next Friday. We will keep playing after that, but we just want to make sure that all the instruments are here so that they're all accounted for. I think that's all that I got. I'm going to hand it over to Mrs. Tribal here.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. As you came in tonight by the concert programs, we also had pamphlets and information about summer music opportunities, and that includes summer music camps and private lessons, if that's something that you're interested in considering. Just because summertime, when there's more available time, perhaps, it's a great way to take our musicianship to the next level and participate either in camps that are away from home or participate in private lessons. So we have information out at the front, and that will also be shared in our SMORE newsletter. And boys, over to you, Elijah and Jameson.
Much of the history of musical instruments involves human ingenuity to manipulate available materials that are often inexpensive and considered to be useless or even garbage by some. For example, steel drums were originally fashioned from discarded oil drums. This piece uses buckets and cans originally used to play in the urban go-go style, characterized by fast triple feel common in hip-hop music. Go-go drummers are often street performers in large cities, such as Boston, Washington, D.C., and New York.
Alone and in ensembles, they perform in varied styles and instrumentation. They often infuse movement and dance as part of their performances. Though this piece begins and ends in a driving rock style, the middle Latin section uses a basic tumbao conga rhythm on buckets, as well as a typical bass pattern used in the cha-cha and other Afro-Cuban styles.
All right, how about another round of applause for our Period 8 band? Thank you so much. All right, we hope you enjoy the rest of your spring. Stay cool out there, stay safe tonight. Thank you so much for coming this evening, and we will see you soon.